This guitar is like the Easter Bunny. She's like the Tooth Fairy. She's like your fifth stimulus payment. They're all fake. I don't think it's really a Gibson. When I saw this, I was like, did that guy know my fantasy? There's something that's just incredibly sexy about three pickups. It brings to life the term, fashion shouldn't feel good. It's to look good. You gotta hurt yourself a little bit to look badass. So if you wanna be Ace Frehley, part of it is scratching the shit out of this pickup and not getting to it. And is there really any need for a third pickup? I don't think so. Other than it's so badass. And when I saw this guitar online, I said, no way. An L5 neck with a Les Paul body with three pickups. And when I talked to the gentleman that owned it, he couldn't verify that it was real. He said he thought it was probably fake. As you can see, there's some ugly holes here. It had three passive EMG pickups that, as my luthier Steve informed me, were held in by about 100 cotton balls. Just cotton balls. So I know you guys are like, oh, he stole this guitar. This guitar was in sad shape when I found it. I contacted Gibson. We took it apart. Not Gibson, but me and my friend Steve, and more of my friend Steve took it apart. And inside it says 272, and it has somebody's name in it. And I believe, from the construction of this guitar, that it was probably a custom ordered body from Gibson. Because back then, there weren't a lot of companies making this body. It has the wings on the side, kind of like you would expect from this time period. The other thing that's crazy about it and made me immediately think it was a fake, it's made of solid maple. I've never seen a Les Paul that was all maple. And the reason being is if it's not chambered, just like this thing, this is almost 13 pounds. It legitimately hurts to rest on my leg. Ugh, how could this be real? Steve and I felt very confident that this was either totally professionally one-off made in the 70s. I'm going to guess February 1972 it was completed because it's signed inside February 1972. And no, I'm not taking it apart again. By Gibson or by some guy out of solid maple and what I believe to be Brazilian rosewood. I've said you can't tell Brazilian rosewood by the grain, you have to test it. And to be definitive, that's true. But Steve looked at me, and you have to understand, Steve's over 70 years old, and he's worked on tens of thousands of guitars, if not 100,000. I don't know, but 50 years plus of guitars this guy's worked on. And he basically said to me, Benny, this super, super dark black and the chocolate and the waves is just a tip-off. And he's like, look, Benny, I'm not a scientist. I'm just a luthier, but I can tell Brazilian rosewood usually a mile away. And granted, if this is a true 1972, I don't think it was until 69 that they even gave a hard time about it. So in 72, Brazilian rosewood was still readily available. Pretty badass. Solid maple Les Paul with the binding, the whole nine, and Brazilian rosewood covers. Now here's where it gets wild. And another reason why the guitar came to me so cheap, because this appears to be an L5 or an L7 neck. I'm not really sure. It looks like it's got to be late 30s, early 40s because of the logo. You can always date a Gibson by the logos. Sometimes they have necks lying around. So I've seen like 1938 guitars with 34 logos, like things like that happen. And when I looked at this neck and I looked at the logo and I looked at the quality of the wood and these Grovers with the patina, these Imperial Grovers, which happen to be both mine and Jim's favorite tuners. This truss rod cover is, which is a little bit higher, to the Gibson logo, to the quality, to all of the hardware. There was no question that this is a real neck. It's probably worth 5 times more than I just paid for this entire guitar. So what is this? This is an L5 Les Paul. That's what I call it. It's my L5 Les Paul. But one thing that's different about it is the neck on an L5 is thinner. So this ABR that we have down here, it did not work with this guitar because the string spacing is different. So when I got this, one of the E string was like over here. It did not play. It was a mess. So Steve, my luthier, my guy, he basically filed exactly where these should be. So if you look at this bridge, this is all messed up. Over here, like this E, it's like all the way over here, because if it was actually in the middle, it would be over the fretboard. This has a different scale. So the other thing is it hits at the 14th fret, but when it hits at the 14th fret, it goes way more into the body. So thanks to Steve, we fixed it up. Where I normally don't customize guitars. Jimmy the mayor, my friend, the mayor of Mahwah, New Jersey, Les Paul's confidant. Yeah, I'm friends with the guy who was friends with Les Paul for the last 28 years of his life, who told him everything. He gave me 2 new old stock Gibson pickups, unmarked, from Les Paul. And he had just stockpiles of pickups. So this pickup and this pickup are both from Les Paul. I'm gonna guess they're probably 510 and 496, because that was kind of what he was using towards that time. I have those in the classic over there, but I don't know. Whatever. So let me tell you how this is wired, because it's kind of crazy. We have your normal volumes for these two guys. Here's a third volume. So now if I have it rolled all the way down, there's no middle pickup. Nothing. So that's the volume for the third pickup. Each one of these taps. So that's basically 3 single coils. And here's a phase switch. Pretty wild, where this is also a master tone. Now we're going to tap it. I hit that middle pickup, guys. I'm not that good. Now, if we want to get saucy, we can put in that middle pickup. I'm going to turn it up all the way. Tap that one too. So that means that this one and this one will both be tapped and up all the way. Very usable, funky tones on a Les Paul made of solid maple, which should, in essence, make it bright, but this is kind of a dark guitar. It's almost like overdriving the amp, but that's also because you have 3 humbuckers all the way up. So I'm not going to give you every combination, but I'm going to now tap it all. So if this is basically all 3 humbuckers all the way up, but single coils. Now, the cool thing is I also have a phase switch. So, as you can hear, you guys don't know what phase means? Google it. It basically makes these things kind of fighting with one another. So, that quacky versus way different. This guy. I gotta tell you, like, this guitar is really fat. It's got a lot of balls. So that when you tap the pickup, you just heard it with the middle pickup. Now the middle pickup's turned all the way down. Now we legit have the neck pickup. Like, that's what I want. That's the neck pickup with tapping. Now, we'd already heard it with the middle guy, but let's have these guys both tap now. So like that's a really cool sound. That's almost like a telly or a Strat with like the tone rolled all the way down kind of. Now I'm gonna go to distortion. So here's the lead pickup by itself. Now the other thing to bear in mind is L5s only have 20 frets. So where most Les Pauls have 22, this one only has 20. Again, fucking up all the math ratios and things going on. Let's go to the butter section. That's so fat. That's what I want. Now, first off, you know it's doing something. You hear that? Humbucker. Single coil. Single coil. Now let's roll in this. Sometimes you think it might be too good to be true. And sometimes it's what you always hope for, except somebody didn't realize that they messed up on it. And that's what this is. A 1972 Les Paul custom body with a 1930s, 40s era L5 neck. It's a thing.
Why don't you smash that subscribe button already?